Welcome back to 4 Geeks Vikings, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I'm Boser.
I scared the shit out of myself, so I have Twitch open on the side and it popped up the two of us. I don't like that. I would like my dog back, though, please.
Oh, and this is Josie. Boser and Joser. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
I don't think I like that.
No?
No, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Well, I'm on dad duty because Mrs. Boser is out of town, and this poor girl has been sitting alone in her poor bed all day, and I didn't have the heart to put her in her cage, and I do not trust this fucker alone.
I have learned that as well.
You got to dog sit her for a few hours this weekend.
You should just take her to work.
I don't trust her there. I'd have to put her in the bed, which I have done and will do tomorrow in the evening, because it's better than keeping her at home all the time. But I don't know. She is going to actively become an issue the entire night, so get ready for that. Because she has no chill. How are you feeling after our great, amazing weekend that we had together, T?
I was good until about 4 p.m. And then everything hit me, and I'm like, so this is what it's like getting old, because this whole weekend just hit me like a truck. I was great. I didn't have a problem. And then 4 o'clock and it said, nope, fuck you. I will wear this wristband until it disintegrates off of my wrist. I have done that with anything that gets put onto my body from events, and it will go until I, probably die.
You still have your Hall of Heroes Comic-Con band on? Nice.
Until it disintegrates, it will stay right there. Mostly because I can never get them off, and it hurts when you twist them too hard, so I just said fuck it, and I just tell people it's I like to remember it, but really it's because it hurts my wrist and I don't like it.
Oh, DSP. Shut up. Said just wait until next week when the time change takes place.
I thought the last year was the last one. Isn't that over?
Is it?
I thought so. I thought last year the fallback was the last one because that got passed because it was no longer necessary or something.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they're trying to get everybody off.
Not a political show.
Because we would launch into it. I personally think it's stupid. Let's all just.
Oh, no, I just meant because we don't keep up with current events to be able to comment on it.
I do for the most part that, and that's why I don't think that that's happening yet, because I do kind of keep up with current events. I just don't talk about it on the show, and they don't talk about it right now.
Fairly not important. I'm not gonna fucking run into this spiel. We have cool people to talk to. Nobody gives a fuck about time change.
No. I'm really excited for tonight, and this was a guest that we've been trying to coordinate with. He's so cool. He travels all over the world, and he just had to wait till he's like back stateside-ish.
What is ish to stateside? Is he in Canada?
No, I think he shared before that he's in Mexico.
Oh, I mean, that would literally be ish, so that would.
Yeah, stateside-ish. But I was loving having you in my home for the weekend, and Sky was at my house for the weekend,
and 11 other
people, and we got to meet our longest and oldest fan of the show, Alec.
DJ. Oh yeah, Alec.
That was super magical. It's so cool, this little community that we built, and especially when this online community turns into IRL for a minute. I love it.
Now, if only we could afford to do it every weekend.
Oh, God.
My liver could do that. That's probably best.
Hey, we bypassed over $1 on YouTube now.
Hey, we're retiring. You get here first, babe. I gotta go to work tomorrow. We got $1.
I got $1.
I got $1. I got $1. Hey. We really do share one brain cell. We were fucking on that.
We're cute. But hey, I am really looking forward to our guest tonight. I have a lot of questions. I know you have a lot of questions. If anybody is in the chat that is familiar with our guest, then shout out. But we are glad you're here on this Geek Out Sesh. We do this each and every Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard, live on Twitch and YouTube. So if you're watching back on YouTube or a podcast and you want to join live in the chat, please do. You can be cool like Alec is here, of course. Bath's here, of course. And DSB is here. Thank you, guys. And if you are here, shout out. Let us say hi.
But yes, if you're lurking, get called out, because that's what everybody's favorite thing is.
Yeah, why aren't you chatting, losers? But please give a warm welcome to this multi-talented human being who stole all the talent from all of us, hence why we suck, T. This is this individual's fault exclusively.
I know, I love how he just pulled something that's difficult to do. It was like, how do I make this harder for myself? And then he did that.
Hearts. I don't know how to do either of the things that we're going to talk about, but
it's just hard squared.
I almost went that somewhere else with that, but
I'm sure you did. Anyways, let's bring Pat on.
All right. Please give it up for an artist, a game developer, person that put them together, Pat Naoum, everyone. Hello.
He is French, if anybody was curious.
Here's his French accent.
Oh, I am Patrick. See, I was saying to them earlier, everybody, that I'm wearing a French shirt and I could just put on a beret and then I could just be French. And no one knows my accent, except now that I've ruined it. But look, I think it's worth it.
But when you're an artist, don't they just automatically give you a beret?
Yeah, and a French passport too. You just get, you just go like, they just call you up, which is like a French citizenship, and you're like, yeah, okay, great, thanks.
Just a package appears on your front porch. It's like, here's your new identity.
Out of baguette. That's handy.
And we just lost our entire French audience.
All the French people like, I'm
out of here. How are you doing, Pat?
I'm good. I'm really good. I am in Mexico, like you mentioned. I have been traveling around, and at the moment, yes, I am closer to the States, so I could time this up. Because originally when you guys reached out to me, I was in Australia, and I was like, oh, this sounds like great fun, like a live streaming thing. And I looked up, and it was going to be 2 a.m. my time, and I was like, no, I just can't do that. That's
what do you mean?
too hard. No, I don't. My bedtime's way earlier than that. I was like, no, I can't function. So I had
Are you an early
the other side of the world? Not particularly, but I'm a solid 8 hours. Like I turn my brain on in the day, it's on, and then I turn off very hard. And
I respect it.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of us doing this again, though, while you're back in Australia, and we do see what you like at 2 a.m.
Me just like wired and Irish. I made a game. I should it'd be that. Definitely that.
Oh, that's gold.
For those that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do as a geek.
Yes. My name is Pat Naoum. I am a indie game developer from Sydney, Australia, and I made The Master's Pupil, which is a hand-painted puzzle adventure game set inside Claude Monet's eyeball that is entirely hand-painted with real paint and real paper, because I am a masochist. Generally.
Oh.
Which is kind of what I thought, because as I had pointed out in the intro, you decided, hey, what's a very difficult thing to do? Make a video game. We all know, because
making a video game is hard.
And you're like, you know what? I could do this digitally, which would just solve a lot of problems.
Yeah,
straight lines, color everything in, don't have to do extra. You're like, you know what? Fuck that idea. How do I make this 7 years of my life? And how do I make this as painstaking as possible? Put it on paper, so if I make a mistake, everybody can see it and find out point. Which I actually made a list of as I was playing through it.
We'll run through them. That could be the entire show, actually.
So you had a stroke here.
It's a hand stuck in the paint there. Yeah, there's actually like early on when I was scanning stuff in, I forgot to like clean the painting. There's all this like dust in the whole one. So it's like in the actual like level bits, it's like dust in the hair and like.
Honestly,
Did I get it again? No, I
think there's a level of charm to that, though. It's almost like an Easter egg that you'll only understand if you watch this show and play the game.
Then play the game. If you can find my eyelash in level 1, then you get a point. You get an instant point.
I'm gonna go back and now have to find that. Now that I know it's there, I have something to look for.
Yeah. There's no like collecting. Like you can't collect little stars or whatever, or paintbrushes, but that eyelash, when you find it.
Now you gotta go back, when you go through and make DLC, you have to drop your eyelashes periodically through them.
Yeah.
That could be the achievements on Steam for it.
Yeah, that's what you go through and collect.
And
do you mind
in an eyeball? So if you collect eyelashes out of the eyeball,
it's right there. And really, you're the hero at that point because you're helping clear out the eye.
This stuff writes itself. This is how easy Game Development is, guys. This is it.
See, I'm halfway there, and I just gotta learn to hand paint, and I can do the same thing.
When you're ready.
Now, do you mind, while we talk about this, that I just show the trailer that you have on themasterspupil.com, which you can find if you use Command Pupil, just to give people the visual, because this is what like all of us first saw like on TikTok and Instagram. We're like, holy shit!
Or Twitter,
what?
Where it started.
So while I play this, which came first, game development or painting?
Look, it's a good thing for a trailer up because it is a mildly boring but long story, but I'll try and keep it quick. I'll try and keep it tight. But it's essentially like, I originally came up with the idea of a game set in an eyeball, on an iris, like in an iris, because there's all these like macro kind of photos of, I can't really display this well enough, but like sideways kind of shots of an iris. It looked like a little pupil, like there's a pupil in the middle, and then this like green kind of valley. I thought that'd be an awesome idea for a game, like a setting for a game, right? So if you start on the edge of the white and then work your way into the pupil, I thought maybe it could also work with someone's life. It could start on the edge, the white bit at birth, head towards the big black pit for death. It would be very, metaphorical and awesome, right? And then, so there's this kind of process of like whittling down ideas and kind of adding and whatnot to them. And then I came up with, once it was the idea of someone's life, I thought I might try and write that person's life. And then I was like, at the time, I was like mid-20s and didn't feel like writing an entire story about someone's whole life, or like a story of like an old man or something. So then I thought maybe I'll find someone that had an interesting life, lived in this interesting time. And I did a Bachelor of Creative Arts. I majored in painting, and I remembered Monet from that time, and I remember that he had cataracts. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be a great end game or a big bad for the game is to have cataracts at the end of this kind of eye? You could climb up into this cataract castle as the kind of, last levels. And then I decided to paint it. So it was all this whole process of whittling down these ideas to then go, well, if I base it in Monet's eye, it's about his life, I show his artworks, I'm going to have to match those artworks, so I better paint the thing to match it. And this idea of painting a game I had kind of thought of randomly, because I was like, how can I leverage my skills? And so I was like, well, painting would work because nobody else has really done it. Some people have done it here and there or different versions. But I thought, well, this will make it kind of stand out and matches really well with the themes. Yada, yada, yada. Paint a whole game.
How much peyote had you done?
Well, I went through art school, right? So,
all of it. No more peyote for everyone.
Australia just ran out. Just no more peyote in Australia.
No, but that is like a really deep idea. Where did you I know that you said you just came from it from looking at the eye, but is that all? You just let your mind wander when you're looking at this image?
Honestly, I don't know if you can throw it up here, but his name's Suren, Suren, I think is his first name.
Okay.
Yeah. Suren, and then maybe macro eye photography, and that'll get you there. But it's basically especially the ones on the angle, right? You actually see like if that's the circle of your iris, then you have this kind of like valley shape. Ooh, will it come up? Oh, yes. This dude. Yeah. So I saw this guy, right? Back in like, this has got to be like 2010, 2012, maybe. And that one on the bottom left is a great example, right? Because it looks like, if you get right up in there, it looks like all these like vine shapes. It looks like this kind of like landscape almost. And so my idea was like, if you could set that as a whole game, then you're having this kind of strange abstract landscape that you could kind of delve into without, and it helped later on, because later on I was like making up all this bullshit about how the, doors would work and how this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to make it up because it's not a real setting. It's inside someone's eye. So I can go between like what is like imagination, what is like science of the way that an eye works, and then what is like, I don't know, real life influences coming into the eye. So, T, you've played it, and it's like all this sound, scapes going on. There's all these kind of strange creatures. Because, you can just kind of, if you base something in this like strange, magical, made up world, you don't have to be realistic at all. Which is super handy.
I do need to ask now, with a statute of limitations in mind, how many of these ideas were sober ideas? Because as you said those words, and I'm looking at this eye, I was like, I see the brain connection here.
Yeah.
I can confidently say, though, sober me is not having those thoughts. A grown plant definitely gives me those thoughts.
Look, drugs are great. I like but like, there's part of what took 7 years to make this. And like I say 7 years, is that because I started work on this iteration of this game 7 years ago, right? And it started as a hobby, and it's not like I was doing it 7 years for part-time. But I actually came up with this idea 2000 and like ages ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago, because it's those ideas that you have, I write them down, and then months later can go by, and someone else kind of goes, some other kind of idea kind of pops in and adds to it. So it's not like I was like sitting there blazed out of my mind going like, whoa, it wasn't like one night. It was like, it was probably a year or something, like reforming this idea over and over again and adding to my notes and that kind of stuff. Because, like I said, I came from an art background, and then after that I did film school, and that entire time I was just coming up with ideas of artworks and short films and feature films and animations. And then eventually I kind of landed on games as an art form that I could work on every day, on my desk for an hour, after work on a weekend day. I didn't have to rely on anyone else. I didn't have to have like a film set or a film crew to work with. It could just be me doing it. And I could make something this complex and this interesting and this, weird, without having the limitations of like, I don't know, having to do some kind of big budget Hollywood film, right? So it's something that I could do. And so like these ideas that I crafted over such a long time, that is just part of the process of being like just obnoxiously wanting to make stuff all the time, And so that's where it comes from basically.
So I'm not huge into art. I'd like to be, and it's just not something I am. So Monet is an impressionist, correct?
Yes, that's
large.
right.
Would you say that is your style of art, or was that something you actually had to practice to interpret the ability to kind of replicate that art style?
Yeah, I wouldn't, because my art, the art that I made, especially at the end of uni, it was painting and it was like animation and it was this kind of stuff, but it wasn't really necessarily Monet, impressionism. It was nothing like that. So there was basically a kind of very harsh learning curve of having to try and remake like a master's artwork. And like, I think I got some general textures pretty good. I got pretty close, but I'm so far removed from his talent and his kind of, because I never actually had to achieve anything that he was doing. Like, I never had to like redo like a sunset or something like that. That's like requires like a deep, intimate knowledge of color and paint. I was just kind of like, well, if I just shake my hand a bit, it'll get a bit messy, and then I can kind of recreate the little, the texture of it. And so, yeah, it was more about trickery and like, heavy amounts of like redoing stuff and to get it kind of good,
And was Monet always the inspiration? Or did you kind of bounce around with different artists and their styles before kind of settling into it?
I think originally, like, I have a lot of like original artworks from when I first started, and so there was some like, I tried to do digital stuff early on that looks okay, but it just kind of had a bit of a digital sheen to it. But I wasn't basing on any other artists. Like it was literally because he had cataracts.
Okay.
And I was building a game in an eye. So those were the connecting things. And then it was like, well, then I can paint it, right? So it was that kind of weird thing where it wasn't I wasn't like searching around for other artists. After I made the game, I thought, well, for sequels, I could definitely do like Van Gogh's ear, because he cut it off at one point.
Yeah.
I could do like Frida Kahlo's monobrow, or like Dali's like curly mustache. Like I was like, oh, there's so many good options. But
I love the idea of a series coming from this, just pointing out various arts.
yeah.
That is a series I am all for getting involved in.
That could work.
Just 7 more years and we'll have the sequel.
Yeah, right? Easy.
I mean, between those 5, that's what, 45 years total of gaming? That's fine. We'll be able to finish it.
My whole life, right? That's a life's work.
Yeah.
Good.
Something to be proud of.
Yeah. Rinse and repeat.
So you said you were doing some indie game development just like on the side. So is that not is this the first time that you really delved into the world of indie gaming development, at least?
Yeah, because like I mentioned, I came from art and then film school, and I was making short films, and I was working in the film industry, and I was doing graphic design as well. So that's been my day job. Like that 7 years, I was essentially working graphic designer, running a business, doing like web developer. So a friend of mine, my business partner, he's a web developer, and so we were working together, making websites, making apps, I was doing logos and book covers and all this kind of stuff. And so I had learned a little bit of like JavaScript and HTML, like web coding stuff. And I thought, well, I really want to make a game. I had this idea. How hard is it going to be? And then I was like, cut to 7 years later. No, it was like basically, it was this process basically of like learning like Unity. I downloaded Unity. I started making like little games, doing tutorials, and then learning how to code, which was, probably one of the biggest challenges I went through, was essentially just learning how to code, because I came from a art background, and so everything is like one-to-one. You put blue on the stick, and then you put the stick on the wall,
right?
And that's art, right? And then it's one-to-one. And then coding is like, you do some weird magic here, and then over here something else happens, and it's like it didn't make sense to me for such a long time. And still now, like, I'm still terrible at it. But my business partner helped me a lot. Other people have helped me a great amount. And to kind of achieve this game, it was just a matter of sitting down and geeking out on the process of it, and like working out actually how to code and what these principles are, and like going back to my uni days or my like high school days of like actually studying something on purpose, because that's probably the last time I did that, was like writing an essay. But I was doing art essays, so that doesn't even count. It's kind of weird. And then, but like, back doing like history or whatever in like at the end of high school, having to like do exams and like learn stuff on purpose and like study it and like read it, get it into your head, because that's really difficult as an adult when you're like, you don't have to do those things. So yeah.
And you said Unity was the engine you built it in?
Yeah, Unity. And it's a really cool, there's just so many tutorials and assets online that you could use. So so much of it was like early on, so much of it was just me being like, how do I do this thing? And then copy and pasting that code into my thing, changing one thing, and then like, like it was literally sticking it together with like sticky tape and glue. Yeah.
I've
That's what you learn.
I've toyed around with. I've tried RPG Maker, RPG in a box, and there was one other one. And am arrogant and cocky, whatever term you want to use. I was like, if I copy and paste, I'm not gonna learn, because I learn entirely by doing. And so I think I managed to get to the point of getting NPCs to walk in a circle and being able to like move and save a game written from scratch. And as I'm staring at like pages of this nonsense, I'm like, my wife was like, so what does this say? I'm like, I don't fucking know. And so I do like a side-by-side comparison of like what I wrote versus like, oh, if I just copy and paste it, there's like 40 extra lines. I'm like, I'm sure a lot of it, but if you remove something that all breaks, I'm like,
yeah,
how do people do this like professionally? Like, you choose to look at this. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to type all day. I'm like, you're mad, man. Stop it.
And I have to go back and forth. Like, I'm doing stuff, I'm working on my next game now, and like I have to try and like I learned a lot making the first game about the way code works and stuff. So now I at least know some basics, and I can I've got to like force my brain to actively learn stuff, because I can do a lot of copy and pasting, and like ChatGPT is like amazing, and I can just ask it a question and it just feeds me code. Right? And then you put it in and it breaks, and you're like, I don't know what that is.
Yep.
Right? So you need to go back and relearn it and make sure that I'm actually knowing what I'm creating. But the thing I learned really early on, especially in art making, like everybody cheats all the time with everything. So there is nothing that you can do that you feel it, like what you were saying about like, oh, it felt wrong to like copy and I've got to do it myself and all this stuff. I'm like, no, it's bullshit, man. Like, if you want to paint something really technical, use a projector to project it on your canvas and draw that, and then paint it, right? Like this, you don't have to like sketch it out yourself. Like
don't make this more complicated.
Don't make it more complicated, right? There's a computer. I can go for free and ask a robot to generate that code for me. I'm just going to do that, right? There's no cheating here. This is real life. This isn't exams.
And so with future games, do you think puzzle platformer is going to kind of be the niche that you enjoy, that you're going to continue with? Or do you think you're going to kind of broaden the spectrum for what's to come?
I'm definitely broadening the spectrum. I think I bit off a lot more than I could chew with the puzzle platforming thing and 2D and like learning a game from scratch and having my first game, this kind of big game. And I haven't learned my lesson. I'm just going to do it again. And I'm just like an open world procedural, like, crafting kind of game that's like part Minecraft, part like I don't know, Zelda. So it's like it's not that complex, like it's not huge, but it's definitely bigger again. So it's another full mouthful, I guess.
Well, if it's any consolation, you did well enough that I did say some choice words about your puzzles that cannot be repeated on this show.
So much
worse.
I think it was the third level, and I've died an ungodly amount of times. I was like, "Is this stupid motherfucker gonna make me YouTube a walkthrough to figure out how to get through these 3 switches to jump up to make sure I'm the right goddamn color?" I'm like, I gotta stop getting angry. I'm gonna be mean tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry, but like. Someone asked me once, like, "Oh, you made the deaths like really like you don't have like checkpoints that are really far back," and I was like, "Yeah, because I don't hate people." I get that like puzzle games are inherently frustrating, right? There's like you can't have a puzzle game that's too easy because it's too boring, and then if you make it too frustrating, obviously people are going to rage quit, and so finding that fine line between there is really difficult, and it's really like specific to 2 people, so 2 different people. So it's like you have to kind of thread this fine kind of balancing act. And so yeah, sorry, but you're welcome.
And no, I will say I think you have it at a very good place. I think the one that I replayed the most is where the ball is constantly being shot up and over, and you have to move it over, up, and then shot down with enough momentum to flip the switch in the far bottom right. And it was one of those things I'm like, because I know what I need to do, but the the slightest mistake can just throw off the whole course.
And that one sucks, I think, the most because the reset takes ages, and I think too there's a lot of puzzles because you like the whole game doesn't have language for everyone listening. Like there's no explanations, you just have to play it and experience it. There's no
which I love, by the way, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and I loved it, and I loved it in like Limbo. I loved it in Braid to a certain extent. You know, that's where my big inspirations came from, and so I wanted to kind of do something very, very similar, but I didn't want to. You know, I really wanted to remove that idea that text is gonna pop up and tell you this is a door and you can do this, right? Mm-hmm. But what that creates is on the other end of the spectrum, after the easy stuff, you get to these points where you're like, people still think that you need to be able to rush a puzzle, because at no point early on did it say, hey, you know, you don't need to rush any puzzles. Like it's all mechanical. You never have to like quickly get to something while something's switching up. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a hard one.
No, and like I said, I think it's actually in a very good place for what it is, because it was one of those things. It's very intuitive. You can look at it and you can see the course of action of where you're supposed to go to get the objective done. And when it's you can recognize it's not Lion King from 1998, that damn platformer that nobody has been into this. Exactly. That's a trigger for everybody of our age. We all know that hell. And so when
people think Souls games are hard, I might just
exactly. Let's see the Lion King and then come back and talk. But no, I think it's very well done in the sense like, oh, I made this failed because I missed this or I moved too quickly here. And because that was a big thing that I kept doing was I'm so used to timed puzzles. I was like, oh, I have to trigger this and get here in this instant.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things, I'd hit there and I'd wait a second to see if something would change. I was like, oh, it didn't change. Like I'm adding this own internal pressure based on like outer experiences and completely influencing my play style for this. I was like, I can slow down and really think about what's happening here.
Yeah. Because nothing really is like, there's that end of level 1 that's in the demo is like, there's a little bit of, and some of the ball things where you have to jump on a ball and then they would have to be the most tricky to do, you know, mechanically. But basically I wanted to make the game, because if you're making, you know, a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game set in an impressionist painter from the 1800s eyeball, it's a pretty niche kind of Venn diagram of people that, you know, I don't want to make sure, like, as a marketing tactic, as to make sure that the game is pretty open to anyone that wants to play it. Because if it was, you know, 1800s impressionist set inside an eye puzzle and really difficult to play, it's like the Venn diagram gets another like circle in there.
I have 4 people worldwide that have been waiting for that particular.
Love it. I know. Froth on it, and then everything else is like everyone's like. Ugh. So yes, it was on purpose to do that, but then still people were constantly trying to like race something. And actually, one of the coolest things that's happened is speedrunners have gone onto it.
That was my next question. I want to know what the record is.
Oh man, so what was it? I think it's 3 hours. Maybe
is a speed run.
As a speed run from like woe to go, like literally starting it, and it takes me 4.5 hours, I think, to do it. And it's like, and they found like the tricks, like they found like breaks and stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to patch that out. That's fantastic.
Which I respect and appreciate. I'm not a speedrunner in the slightest, but I feel like as a dev, I feel like you have to like just show the respect for the people like you. Like it's not, they're not pointing out your flaws to make you look bad. They're pointing out the flaws to emphasize a different level of fun and aspect to the game.
Yes,
that wasn't
they're
there
enjoying
originally.
that game. They've
Exactly.
played that game more than anyone else has, right? So
Right.
I'm like, if you want to enjoy it anyway, and that's the whole point of making. Oh well, that's what I wanted to do a lot with the puzzle games, is make puzzles that you can solve in different ways. And I'm like, then what's the difference between that and making a game that you can play in different ways? Like, there's no, that's the same thing. It's the same principle. So when I saw these people just like literally breaking it and like just and finding stuff that I didn't realize was possible, and I was like, oh, okay, that is fantastic.
Can I ask a technical question?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned earlier about coding and where you come from a world where you stick your paint in, you brush in the paint, you put it on the canvas, there it is. And how opposite it is to code. How do you do this and I'm for the podcasters, I'm pretending to dip a brush and paint. It's very
Thank you for the
suggestive.
emphasis, because as somebody watching it, that could also be a very funny clip that will be going on the internet.
Yeah.
As he continues.
I'll do this one. Oh
How-
no!
How
Yes,
do
get closer
you
to your hand, please. Thank you.
how do you do that? How do you take, like, I've seen some of the Instagram videos and on X and stuff where you have like all these brush strokes all over the canvas. How do you transfer that into the game physically?
Yeah, it's a scanner. And so many people have asked me this, right? And they're like, how did you do it? How did you magically like put it into the screen? And I'm like a digital scanner, like you would literally any other document. But I mean, like, it's interesting because so many people were kind of bamboozled by that. I think, especially because I know, and T, maybe I can ask you this because like, did you get a sense of scale for how big these things were? If you had to guess, I don't know if you've seen the Instagram stuff, but like, if you had to guess how big something was on screen in real life,
Like a platform or something?
Yeah, this is actually something I brought up with my wife, is how well I'm not even sure how to articulate that. Yes, you could tell there was a level of depth to it that really exemplified painting to painting. And I don't know how to kind of articulate what that feeling was or how the hell it was possible, but you could tell it wasn't all symmetric. Not symmetric. Symmetrical is a very poor choice of words there. I don't know what the word is.
for that stuff was repeating it or whatnot. I just mean more like because you know each like individual like vine thing that you run on is probably smaller than my pinky, right? It's actually quite like really little, and so part of that was like, so I didn't have to fill up my house with like giant artworks, right? I could just paint it on like an A4, and then, well, what is it? Whatever it is in America, is it A4 in America?
8 by 11.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Do you call it an A4?
Anyway. Yeah, A4.
Oh, I'm going to Google this later because I'm very curious to see.
Fascinating art shit for everyone listening.
There's the first Australian term that we didn't know. Can't wait to learn that.
Look, it's not Australia, guys. It's everywhere else, but like, it's not, you know, like the imperial system, like, you know,
Flawed.
The one.
yeah. Not freedom units, okay? A4, not freedom paper. It's standard A4. And anyway, but because that can fit on a scanner really well as well, so, right? So, and I did try and use like a camera early on. I tried to use like a regular scanner, but I ended up having to buy like a film negative scanner, what they use for you to like these kind of like tiny little things that it can put that into like 6,000 DPI, which is like, imagine blowing up a postage stamp to like the size of a building. It's that kind of like scale. So
okay.
I got this kind of like fancy scanner. It was like, you know, I think it was like $600. So it was like, and I was like doing this hobby thing, and I was like, well, if I really want to do it, I better get these like tiny little paintings to be really well high resolution, because I think it helps at the end, because I didn't have to paint as much. I didn't have to physically put as much paint down. But then I could also cheat details and make things a bit splashy. Like I said with my hand shaking gag earlier, that's literally what I did. Like I was like shaking my hand to make the paint all splashy so it would look like that impressionist style. And then I could just kind of do it from back here and then scan it in, and it would look like big paint strokes like this on the screen, but they're only tiny little. And so that whole process took this like whittling down of like from painting really big to painting really small and scanning it in and getting all these things to be just right. Because at the end of the day, I wanted to have these kind of like, to make it have this sense that everything was really small because you're in an eye, but it's all abstract anyway, and it's all paint. So you just have to kind of like try it and see if it works. I don't know. So it took a long time to get all those like processes down, basically.
So I guess now I'm here. So is knowing that everything was scanned by an A4. So is every level essentially the equivalent of the length of the A4? Is that the?
Oh no. So
Okay.
So that was like most of the assets. I would just draw like all the little levels and actually like would print them off. So they would be really exact. I'd paint over them and then I'd scan them back in, right? So there's this like elaborate process that I went through. But the background images, the original one was on A4, you know, it was like equivalent of like this big. And then I actually had to, that's level 2 has that, you know, that was the first one background that I hand painted. And then I actually had to like digitally edit it, like copy a bit to put over at the back of the level because there just wasn't enough room. Like it just ran out of space. It ran off screen, and then that was it. And we were just in black, and I was like, okay, I have to get this bit and put it back over here, and that's kind of thing. And then eventually I started painting. I got these like big bits of paper and was painting them quite long. So they would be like a minute long, lost a beat, but only about this high, and they would run the entire length of the. So that's the very background. That's where the sky is and the kind of background hills and whatnot.
See, now I want to see the game laid out via the drawings. I think that would be the. I don't know how you would like re-articulate that back in the scale that would require, but I think now just trying to like picturing how all that would lay out. I just think that would be a very cool thing to see the game just laid out in the sense of how it was broken down by the scan sheet. I think that's very cool.
The weird part is because you wouldn't even be able to do it right, because so the parallax effect is when you're running and you have that kind of different layers that move in different speeds. I'm trying to do it on screen for people. It's not going to work in a podcast, but it's like layers of the background that move at different speeds as you're running, essentially the parallax effect. And so I wanted to have that a lot, and that's the reveal of the paintings coming into play. That uses that kind of trick to like pull everything into space. But that means everything is out of scale in a really weird way. So you wouldn't even be able to lay it all flat because everything is.
I think that's what makes it so cool is how much, even then on that flat, that you would still be able to show that varying depth coming to play of that varying sizing. Again, I know it's not a logical thing to ever be able to come to fruition, but
and I've always wanted to like. I went traveling soon after I kind of released the game. So I never got the opportunity.
So I don't know if these reviews are going to look like I'm fucking out of here.
Just bounce. Just get out. It's the equivalent of a digital mic drop. Just be like, and then just leave the country. But I really wanted to like do like an art showing, like a gallery space, like an exhibition of like the original artworks, have like the backgrounds up and have the thing, because I think they're like, I know them quite intimately, and I've given them to friends and family as like Christmas presents and stuff like this.
Let me know what I can purchase so I can put up. I'll figure out the shipping from Australia. I 100% will pay for something to have in the background.
People have asked, which has been some of the sweetest things I've ever heard. People have really genuinely asked me like, can I buy one? And I'm like, I don't know, man. It took me ages to paint. I don't know if I could like let them go, like give them to people who live near me, so I can go and visit them when I want to. But like, yeah. And like, the big paintings, because like I painted everything basically except the backgrounds, and those like long backgrounds I was describing, like a meter long, and some you can see like time lapses of me doing them on Instagram, but like they were some of the like my most favorite artworks that I've done in the last like 10 years, because I stopped painting basically after uni. Like I didn't really keep that up, except for this game. And it was this really, really specific painting these level pieces, painting all this kind of like really technical little bits and whatnot. And then suddenly the background pieces were these like artworks that I could do, because they were like landscapes and I had to paint like a landscape artist, you know? So I'm proud of those, because they're finally like actual artworks, not just like a page of little green squiggles. Like they were actually like, oh, here's something. So one day I'm going to have a game, studio, and put them up somewhere. It'll be a feature wall somewhere.
I do want to circle back because I am very curious. So when you talk about the paintings coming into play and what the parallax effect,
yeah.
So how exactly, and without going too technically into it, is it layered when you're like, are you cutting out the other pieces as they're shifting into it, or is that just editing effect breaking into as you're like the boat, for example, as it separates itself from the painting and you write it off of it? Is that just a layered and you're putting black over whatever was there, or is that actually
so I went
artwork on top being moved?
Yeah, so all those artworks, when you see like a full framed artwork, that's Monet's art. That's his paintings, right? And so I struggled a lot to try to find really well made, well captured high res versions of his works. And then I literally just like paintbrush stroke between paintbrush stroke, cut out everything on Photoshop, cut out all these layers. And usually to do with like the background layer of the landscape itself. And then with those, I layered them into the different parallax layers of the game. And then it's all getting very technical, but essentially getting a camera to stay still, so that when you run into this area, a camera flies up, stays still, and then I layered everything in purpose so it would like line up in this one spot, and then that's the kind of reveal of those individual pages.
Okay.
That's actual his ones that I kind of meticulously cut out. And then on most of them, I've like added a little background layer, like repeated something like clone brush tool on Photoshop, like back behind different sections. So just so there wasn't as like, it was a bit cleaner and stuff. So when it comes together, all the colors are kind of nicely, and then it all lines up and they are kind of like in place. And I tried very hard also to just make sure that I never messed with his original artwork. So there was always as best as I could get it, and I never changed any of them. So if I changed a background piece, that was always hidden by something that he painted, and I didn't just Photoshop, because it was like originally I wanted to have it that you ran into a world of the painting. And there was this kind of space. Maybe in one of these shots where something moves into the foreground, and you would cross into this world of the painting. But none of his paintings were like super long, so I couldn't really have you run into this space and run through that world for a long time. And I kind of came across this by accident, because I had these layers set out to try and create this landscape. And then I had this camera stop at some point and everything lined up really well. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I quickly kind of like prototyped it up and then like, tapped on my mate's shoulder and was like, look at this. What do you think? And he was like, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. My mind was flowing and he was like, chill. And I was like, wow. And I think I could like hook the game on this. I think I could have the game have these kind of fun moments, moments of relief, moments of like interest that would kind of break up the puzzles, because then you can suddenly have Monet's art up there and that you get this moment of relaxation. And as a reward, essentially.
And is there any like IP issues that you had to come across to get like licensing behind? And
yeah, because it's a freaky thing. You just like literally copy like the life's work of an artist and be like, I'm going to make a game about this. And then so many people have asked, but essentially, it's 75 years after the death of the artist.
Okay, I knew there was a yearness. I wasn't sure what level of when things like that entered public domain outside of you blatantly like, hey, I made this for you to crucify the shit out of you. And then the families are like, all right, motherfucker, now you're going to pay.
Yeah. John Monet is going to come out of like, hiding and be like,
Right.
It's like great grandpappy's artwork after you know. Yeah, and like it was also like because once I came up with Monet, I did my due diligence and thought of other artists. You asked me before whether there was other artists beforehand. I did think of other people that I could do after I thought of Monet. And that was kind of, again, cemented him as well. It was like, well, I can use his artwork, you know. These artworks are there to use. And so, you know, that's the beauty of the kind of working with someone that died in like, you know, he died in 1920 or something. So it's like, I'm okay. No legalese.
I will say just this is an incredible game. So in general, it isn't my type of game. I'm not a big cozy gamer. I'm not a puzzle gamer. I'm a very stupid man. As I said, I'm 4 levels in and I'm like, all right, this motherfucker better have a step-by-step somewhere because this is getting a little ridiculous. And I 100% have full intentions of finishing the game. But as I was playing it, I was like, man, I don't know what level of replayability there is. And the big thing that I enjoy about our Geek Out session is getting to know people so much more and getting an inside look, much like listening to like your favorite artists have interviews and you're getting those like in-depth detail. Like I'm now giddy to go back and play more of it, having a better understanding of like your inside perspective of it. So I don't mean that like in any negative slight that like, hey, the game's not for me, but knowing just as a deeper level of like what
as I said before, the Venn diagram is the crossover isn't huge.
It's getting closer and closer to the center of that event.
And
I'm kind of dancing with one of the outer ones, but
and the Venn diagram to also lap with podcasters as well. It's getting pretty small, so no, totally understand.
No, but genuinely, it is a very, very fun concept, and I've been following this process for I'm not even sure how long now. And when I initially emailed you, I don't remember which guests we had, but because we were at the point of like, are we ready to reach out to these bigger names? Because it's one of those things, it's very easy to see like, hey, a very small show is trying to reach out to somebody with hundreds of thousands of followers, like, oh yeah, they're using this to gain just recognition based off of a big name. And we just had somebody come up like, no, it's time for you guys to swing for the fences. And so when you came up and your email became available, I was like, the worst he can say is no. Like, I love that I'm for this
in this scenario. I'm the fence.
You are the fence.
Yes. You can do it. Yeah, look, man, I think it's flattering. I think, especially because of the weird popularity that this game got out of the blue. Because, you know, like, I was sitting on... If you had followed it from way back when, then you would have noticed that I had about 3,000 followers, you know? Like, there wasn't any type of attention. And I wasn't expecting a game to go well. You know, like I was really not expecting this game to, like, the Venn diagram joke says it all, right? It's like, how many people are actually going to play this game? And the biggest problem with indie games is like if you make a really niche game, then you have to show it to even more people so that the really niche player population are actually ever going to get to it, right? So it becomes this strange marketing thing where you need a giant marketing budget just to sell a few hundred, right? So then it becomes this very strange, you know, play. But then, you know, I had 3 posts go wild on Instagram and TikTok, and it was just bizarre. It was mind-blowing and kind of just, I don't know, shocking. There's no better way to describe it, because you just suddenly, like, I'm just sitting there on a weekend getting thousands and thousands of likes and messages and just being like, what the hell is happening? Like, it's like,
I was not prepared for this.
Did my OnlyFans get leaked again? What the hell?
Yeah. You know, and so those posts just kind of like made the game. That's it. And I guess, you know, got into contact with you guys, and now I am the fence that you strive for. So that in itself is bizarre.
It's very great to see, because a lot of smaller devs can get absolutely crucified by being a smaller game. And Steam, I feel like, is the bread and butter for a lot of online or PC gaming specifically. And that all reviews tag is so pivotal for if a game is going to reach any level of success. And so we've had other game devs on, and that's something I track because, again, smaller devs, smaller budgets, smaller capabilities if it's their first time. And those negative reviews tend to pile up. One person sees a negative and then they just smoke trail and go on and go on and go on. And so I've been watching yours and it's stayed very positive the whole time. And it's a breath of fresh air for somebody who is supporting you. I can't imagine the breath of fresh air for the actual person doing it.
And
but
like,
even going through and seeing the negatives, they're not really negative because most of them is like, it's not for me. It's a fantastic concept, which again, it's just great to see for somebody the first game out, being able to go back to look at the Paul Naum game, going to see like, oh, he has other great games. So now I got other more to dive into, which is fantastic.
But yeah, it is just a strange, like, it makes or breaks games really early on, you know. And I've had, I have game dev friends that have made really good games, but they're just trying to now, they got a bunch of mixed reviews early on, and now they're trying to like get over the hump and make sure people, you know, enough people actually get to it so then they can review. And because, you know, the people that actually play it, you know, the people that see it can be massive, and then people who buy it gets whittled down slower and slower. The people who play it for long enough, right? And then the people who actually review it gets tiny, and then, you know, it just becomes like one can make a difference. And it's like, especially early on, right? I just said to all my friends, I'm not giving you a free copy. Go and buy it and write a review, a positive review early on, because if you can because it's something like if you get 10 within the first week or day or something, then you get bumped up into this other echelon that you get, you know, so you're not just like the free games that are coming out every day and people make them in their like free time, like, well, my game is made in free time, but the bad ones, right? The people that are trying to make like weird glitchware, and like, so Steam is just combating that constantly, and so the algorithm is just brutal, and so there's no way to get past it other than just fingers crossing and asking your friends.
Which again, just want to point out, you did a fantastic job, and I'm glad it's getting reviewed as well as it is. Because like you said, the Venn diagram, very, very small. And the fact that you have, at this moment in time, 89 reviews for a first-time game, very small, that's fantastic. And again, seeing that very positive, I check on it like once a week. I'm like, I'll start yelling at people in the comments. We may be worlds apart, but I will throw hands if people start getting rude, because I've been called anti-consumer several times because I don't believe games should be reviewed within a week of the original, like, of release, because bugs are going to happen. That's right. And then if you have under 2 hours of playtime, because I feel like both of those, you're giving snap decisions, and outside of games like Master Pupil, you drop right in. You're not even getting through the tutorial at that point. And so you can crucify a game and literally hinder any possible success rate by being ignorant and short-sighted and just crucifying. And so
it was one of those, like, the AAA scene gets like, and granted, they make some terrible games. Like the studios that come out with like they release games that are just, and I don't mean like games that might be shonky or like not, you know, they could be just shit. I mean games that are like literally broken and aren't made properly, right? And so what was that recent one that came out that it was, I can't even remember. It like they pulled it down immediately. Like it was not actually what they even advertised, right? Games, what was that one? It was really recent. It was some crafter that was like survival zombie one. Anyway,
I can think of like 4 different games right now.
That they just kind of like they pulled down really quickly, right? Outside of those games, there could be games that people like I'm a fan of a Far Cry. Like I'll play each one as they come out, not straight away. Granted, I'll wait for its on special, but I mean like I'll play them every time. And I make sure the UI settings don't annoy me too much, and like, because there's something in there that I like, right? But there's people that go, there's fans in all different areas of art and like movies and whatever, but game fans seem to be like, you've personally offended me. I'm gonna now tank this game, and like just return the game and get your money back, and don't worry. Like, I don't get the idea of like.
But that doesn't give the trolls attention. That's the only thing they care about.
Yeah.
But it makes me so sad for those people. Like, you really like those people have never A, created anything they're proud of, or B, even tried as hard at creating something that to the level that you clearly have. Because if they did, if they did, they would have the slightest bit of empathy to know that you need to give it more than 2 seconds of your attention and some keyboard courage to be even worthy to comment.
Because that's the hardest thing, right? Because comments are like they are the best thing for marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually genuinely are really, really good. So you can't just not have negative comments, right? You need to have them. But the line of abuse is so easily pushed that it's
the one that gets danced on so often.
You're just kind of like, and like I'm totally accepting of the bad reviews on the Master's Pupil. I love them because it points out that this game isn't for everyone. I don't want people coming and playing this game when they're not into it because they thought it might be interesting or just like casually or whatever, because they're not going to have a good time. It's frustrating. It's a puzzle game. It is specifically for people who like puzzle games or podcasters who have to play it. I don't want people going on there. I want them to look at the thing and go, whatever, like judge all the comments, right? I think there's one on there that's particularly interesting that is like, oh, I've been following this game for ages. I've been following the Instagram page because I had the Instagram going basically the entire 7 years, right? Oh, yeah. So I had people on there really, really early, and they were like, oh, like I was on it for so long and then I played it and it didn't live up to it. I was like, buddy, like this isn't like, I don't know, it's not triple A.
This isn't Star Citizen, calm down.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, like, but it's valid because if you need something on there to go like, lower your expectations down a little bit, like, don't get too excited.
What would you do? Like T was saying that your comments and your reviews have been overwhelmingly positive for the most part, and I think it's a good sign that they continue to. But you're open to the negative. So normally people that have run into so much negative, I would ask them like, how do you get through it? And I'm sure as an artist and as a creative, you run into a lot of negative feedback. But what would happen tomorrow if that review score plummeted? Like, talk to the person that maybe is wanting to create something but is afraid of that negative attention.
Oh, that's a much easier question. Is like if there's other creatives that are scared of reactions.
Yeah.
Because that's simple. Because like, well, yeah, man, like it's, I can't say it's succinct enough. I wish I could say this more poetically. But essentially, like, if you don't do the artwork ever, then you've never done it. Like, I mean, like, there's no, if you're worried about negative reviews or negative opinions about anything that you do, then yeah, don't do it, I guess, because if that's gonna that's gonna kill you, then like, if that's gonna hurt you so bad that you don't want to make the art, then maybe don't make the art, right? Like, art's not about the review; it's about doing it. Like, I didn't make a game over 7 years because I was like, I'm really excited for those positive reviews. they're gonna really.
I want to devote 7 years of my life for positive affirmations from strangers on the internet.
Yeah, like, no, you do it because you like making the art, right? So make the art anyway. You don't have to ever release it. You don't have to have it show it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you then make the art and it is good and you really, really like it, and you know that negative opinions of it doesn't actually make the difference, perfect, right?
Show it off.
And then you'll have a whole bunch of people going, you suck. And you go,
Okay.
And that makes you feel even better. That makes you feel even better than the positive ones. Well, no, the positive ones are great. That's like crack. Don't get me wrong. But like the negative ones, you kind of go like, and to how I was going to answer the first part of that question was like, how do you respond to the negative criticisms? Is like either you don't, like if it's trolly or if it's silly, like what you can just ignore it. That's fun, and go answer the positive ones. Or if they kind of need a response, or you feel like you should, I just do it with like aggressive positivity, like kind of just be like, well, I tried my best. It took me ages, and I did it in my spare time. But thanks, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, you just hit them with a "you have the day you deserve," because then it's up to them to determine how that response is being taken.
And I wish I had some on call here, but there's been moments where I have like replied really nice to someone that's been like weirdly aggressive. And they've just come back with like, oh, sorry, man, blah, blah, blah. Like,
that's not what I meant.
Yeah, or they're just kind of like, I swear one of them has said like, oh, I was just having a bad day. Like, I'm aggressively positive a lot of the time, and so I kind of have a benefit of the doubt thing of like, and some of them actually come back with like, I was having a bad day, and I was like, vindicated. That is excellent.
Fix the review then, fucker.
Redo it.
I'm not a welcome mat. Yes, I knew it.
So yeah, just I think aggressive positivity, can get through almost anything.
God, you two are the fucking same person.
I know. I like him.
Yeah.
So okay, here's my takeaways tonight. Cheating is okay.
Yes. Yep, definitely.
Aggressive positivity. And drugs are awesome. Did I miss anything?
No, that's it. That's my
YouTube title, though, for sure. That's clickbait in the best way.
To change my Instagram bio, actually, to that. I'd get instantly banned on TikTok, but Instagram would probably be alright.
I think I found my next tattoo, though. I think that's the next quote I'm getting.
And just my face going. Like over it in a
yep in a Bob Ross way.
Yeah.
With some little squiggles all over.
Yeah.
One of the worms. Well, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you use Command Pupil, or you can go to the link below on the podcast or YouTube and pick up your own copy of the Master's Pupil. You can get it on Steam, right? Where else can they get it?
Steam, you can get it on Steam. You can get it on Nintendo Switch, which is also very exciting. And any day now, I'm going to proper announce that it's going to be on Xbox and PlayStation, which is really exciting.
Did we get to hear this first?
Pretty much, yeah. I've been dropping it every so often in like random people asking. I'm like, any day I'm gonna announce it any day. And so very soon I'm gonna properly announce it on my socials. So look out for that.
Well, we'll be telling everybody you told us here first for our own validation.
You guys get first. Yes, definitely. And like I'm not gonna do like pre-orders and stuff, but just follow literally anything that you like from me, either Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. There's a newsletter. There's a website. themasterspupil.com that has all the links too, and basically it'll get thrown at you at some point, or just go and buy it right now on Switch or Steam.
I am downloading the Switch. I for some stupid reason just assumed, I looked on there and I saw Steam and I was like, oh, I can't do it because I just have this stick up my ass.
I think specifically this one is okay on Mac.
It is. He even said so.
And it is on Mac. Yes,
Mac. Which is a big thing for him. I always want to play games with him. He's like, I can't play it.
It's on the Mac.
No.
I used to be a Mac person, so I know that.
But you switched, didn't you?
I switched because I wanted to play PC games. I bought The Witcher first, and I was like, what have I been doing all my life? Yeah. Instant hate.
You had a Mac. You had the Apple because you designed. You did the graphic design. You did the editing.
And well, actually, I need little glasses. Actually, I had Macs before they were cool. My dad used to bring home Macs because he was an architect, so he used to bring Macs home from his.
How fucking old are you?
Dude, I'm ancient. And Dad used to bring home computers from his work, and then we had Macs ever since then because Dad was a Mac user. And then
Are
I
we
had
talking about like
Macs.
the clear colored ones from like?
Yes.
Oh,
Those-
Yeah! The
Mhm.
best kind?
Yeah, and Dad had brought home the one before that computer. So that's how old. I
So
didn't even
before
work-
that, I was
Yeah.
inside a man's balls, so I don't know what was clear and colored. So
But I was like 3, and Dad would like open up like ArchiCAD, which is like a CAD program, and like, here you go, try and work that 3-year-old, and I'm be like trying to draw stuff. Like, yeah,
he sits passively.
yeah. He's like, well, he's quiet, right?
But speaking of drawing, because you're an artist and we are not, how would you like to go head to head on some Pictionary?
Let's do it.
It's a terrible idea.
Let's do it. Here comes the clickbait portion of the night. So we're going to use this platform that we're not sponsored by, but it gives us all the bells and whistles, called Drawies?
Wise?
Drawers.
Drawies? No, that
Drawies?
doesn't seem right.
Drawies. Draw eyes. Like in the Master's Pupil. I think I already had a room.
Yeah, but then everybody left, so you gotta make a new one. Oh, we're going deaf.
Oh God.
Now we
How?
can't monetize. Damn it.
No!
I'm telling you, right? We're
No,
gonna get
so
an email. This is gonna go up, and we're getting an email like, "Oh, sorry, boys."
Okay, I think I already sent you the link. If you click it again. Oh, unless it's a new one. Wait. We're doing great. I'm gonna put this new one in the chat. Let me see. We're doing great.
We're professionals.
Doing it.
Oh, I have to go
TNT.
first. Ah, this is terrifying. I was not
Wait,
prepared.
am I still in? Oh, I joined a room. What's that one?
Wait, it said I was playing with you guys.
Ah. Wait, click this other link. Wait,
Yeah, I'm gonna close that one.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
click this
click
other
again.
link in our private chat.
Okay, a new one.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're doing it.
This worked.
In-game dev is hard. Podcasting is.
Especially when you're
Especially when you're up. Start the game.
Am I in there with you?
No, it's just Pat and I.
Wait, I gave a new link. A third new link.
Okay.
In our defense, we did test this at first.
We did, and
And
it
we
was
did
working.
well. Okay, I'm.
I thought so.
Oh, now it's just Boser and I.
Oh shit!
Okay, I'm on shoot and waiting for friends to do it. No, Fugasat.
No, go to Mufini.
Okay, this.
Click this. Yeah, the third new link.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see if it pops you in.
I can make games.
Aha, there we
Oh,
go.
there he is. Okay.
There we
Okay,
go.
don't look at my screen.
I didn't want to go first, anyways.
What? My vote. So if you guys look at the stream or the screen, you'll see the word that I'm choosing.
Okay, I'll look away.
Look away. Okay.
Not click to that tab.
Now I got to type faster than Pat does and be quicker than Pat is and understand whatever the hell Boser is thinking with his left hand.
Yeah, because I'm drawing with my
left-handed or
thumb.
right-handed?
We're doing this
I'm
with
right.
non-dominant hands, right?
Yeah. Oh god. Oh god. I just realized what I'm drawing doesn't look anything like what it's supposed to.
Clipping material.
Does it show how many letters it's got? What are you?
But...
Oh.
Yeah,
Douche.
Pat got it.
I got it
There
off.
we go. I
What
knew.
was it?
I saw your one movies, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
It shows how many letters it's got.
Oh, I thought it was just there like, hey, this is where you type.
Yeah. Cheeky.
Really? You can't tell what that is? What are you talking about?
Oh no, I have to pick. Okay. Oh, and I got to do this left-handed. Oh god, this is a very right-handed mouse.
I think the key is just picking the easiest one to draw. Robin Hood hat.
That's supposed to be round.
I mean, it's round.
Power Ranger.
Now it's only got one.
Oh, that looks like a tea bag.
Oh,
A green Venom.
it does.
Now it's
Are you
got one,
switching
two,
colors
three,
on me?
4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7.
Oh,
Oh,
Wait.
no.
Oh wait, I clicked the wrong thing. Boser was right. It was Earth, but it's not that anymore.
you gaslighting me, bro.
How do I erase? All right, well, I'm switching to right and to erase. There we go.
Oh no, you got 30 seconds. Let's see if you can do it.
Okay, I think I'm worse with my right hand, to be honest.
Oh, I got it.
That was 100% Earth, and then I looked up and said bathtub. I was like, hold on.
Like that's just
Okay.
not how you draw a bathtub.
Okay.
All right, here's the real artist.
About to embarrass us with his non-dominant hand.
YouTube listeners, if you're still here, then please comment below why. Oh my god, that's the best. That. I'm not gonna say it out loud.
That's just, I didn't even get to other colors.
No.
What was it?
You can still
guessed
guess.
it, didn't he?
Oh, I can
he
still
can
guess?
still
Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
got it. I feel like
Yeah.
hammer is the same thing. I feel like we're splitting hairs at this point. I thought it was a once it's guessed, that's it. Nobody else gets the guess.
That was such a Krabby Patty perfect bun.
Krabby Patty. See, I think the key of this isn't my art skills, my painting skills. It's my design, coming from design, because you got to work out the icon of it, right?
That's what that makes the difference.
Oh.
You got to do the logo.
Oh, mine's not showing me letters anymore.
I chose the wrong icon
I
because
think that's A4, right? Nope.
I chose grid because that would be the most boring play for this. Just a grid.
great. Yes, I truly
Fine.
created. Oh god.
Is this Albert Einstein's wormhole theory? What is happening?
I
This is not
also
working.
can't spell a span shot.
If we play more, we are able to unlock other tools and not just this pen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think we're kind of selling draw eyes pretty well on this.
I think so. We ought to be sponsored.
I am so excited to see what this is.
Yeah, this is really boggling my
Are you
noodle.
gonna make a guess?
I honestly have no idea.
That was the last I had.
Oh, that's a pretty good idea. A fly swatter? No, it's not a fly swatter.
What's a
manky waffle?
Are we about to learn
feel like
another
that's kind of
Australian word?
That sounds like a sex move. A manky waffle.
I'm gonna try it tonight. No one got chest?
Chest?
Yes. That's
Oh,
pretty good.
Goodness.
I think I was incorrect. It should have been manky waffle. It's not Jesus.
That was a quick draw, that one.
There we go.
Everyone guessed it.
Oh,
I
came
won
in
the game.
Oh, I
second.
came in third. Thanks.
Nice.
Don't you secrets?
Oh, I'm gonna hide this while this stupid ad play.
Oh, you get points. I didn't even notice the points bit.
Yeah, so how you play is it's like the quicker you guess, the more points you'll get.
Oh, I reckon I
Yeah,
nailed on
first.
that fish one.
But you still want to guess. If we were playing with 10 people, it's still likely. Oh, do I have to do this again? We can't just play? No, we're in Mufini.
What does that even mean?
Look at the private chat. You'll find the
Can
link.
we
for
not just hit
Mufini.
play again? Is that not
I
how that
did
works?
hit play again. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh no, what did I do?
Oh, I got it. I've got it. Wait, no, I've just got senior. I need Pat.
Hold on.
There we go. Start the game. By the way, your avatar looks just like you, Pat.
I know, I made, because you could draw over it, and I made little hair on it.
Wait,
You
Draw
drew on
Eyes
it?
can comment in chat now? What is happening? This is crazy.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do that. This is really hard with that one. Also, drawing on a mouse is just like bloody. I don't. That's.
Yay! It was Cloud. Good job.
Oh,
We
nice.
need to silently plug in there real quick.
Just, yeah, I liked it. It just came out with the master's pupil and then water, and then you guessed it. I was like, wait, what? That's not it.
Oh, left hand. Okay. Left hand is hard with a pencil, let alone with.
With a mouse. Like, right hand is hard with a mouse.
Yeah.
You guys remember Hey Arnold?
I loved Hey Arnold.
I had the same thought when I was starting this. This looks like the kid that goes.
Hey Arnold. When there is a massive comeback to like all those cartoons. Is it just
As
because
they
people
should.
Is it just because people want to be kids again? Like,
Yeah, I think it's nostalgia. We're all missed when time wasn't a shit show, and every government wasn't trying to kill all of us. That we go back to a time where we don't have to worry about that.
yeah, and I didn't have to like pay rent and
They
bills.
exactly.
You guys didn't pay your parents' rent?
You were put.
Oh no, I did, but that's a whole nother conversation, not intended for stream.
Yeah? What? Oh.
There it is.
Oh. Okay.
It's the eyebrows.
It's the eyebrows. Babe. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, my favorite actor. Ibris.
Ibris. Ibris. I kind of forgot that I was thinking so much about Hey Arnold that I forgot about.
The game. Oh. Oh. Okay.
This is
All these
very
sounds-
hard left-handed.
What?
Oh, it's two words.
Hey.
That's a long word. Wristwatch. I was doing watch clock.
I'm gonna try a hard one.
I think you should be forced to try it otherwise.
Oh, I got that first one pretty good. Oh.
Oh, it's the Alien Mother.
I was about to say Eldrazi from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why is that the best fucking crab I've ever seen?
I was really loving that top bit. That's got some good lines to it. I love this meter when it says waiting for the artist to choose a word. And it goes really quickly and then slows right down at the end.
After I've already
to pressure you, but not feel too bad about it.
Yeah. Oh,
But I literally chose immediately. I'm like, who are you saving time for? It's the tiny details.
It is the detail.
Oh, good guess. Good guess. Oh, good job, Pat. Come on, T. If my Mac won't stop, it's like trying to shortcut me. Because I'm clicking things weird.
Go on, do the little yellow bit on top.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay. I was like, what is happening? Oh, I get it.
are you pissing on a hat?
It's the worst Jordan hat.
It was pancakes and syrup.
How did you get pancakes?
I was gonna go for like the butter on top, but you just piss all over it.
Why are you
said
pissing on your pancakes?
It was syrup. With syrup.
Oh, good lord.
I might have won that game somehow, but I think the real winner is Pat Naoum for
For sure.
the last 7 years of his life, for us and for all of you.
Too kind. Well, thanks very much, lads. This was a blast.
Thank you for coming on. It means a lot.
All right. My pleasure. Bloody great.
So how much touring do you still have?
All right.
I'm touring. I love it. Yeah, I'm touring the world with lots of people. I'm traveling for like a year. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, me and my partner just traveling like around the world basically. So we had planned to do this like pre-COVID, and then COVID hit.
Fucking COVID.
Slowed everything down. And then it's just been whittling down options and whatnot since. And so then now we're kind of going from, we went through Europe and now we're doing Mexico, and then we're going back to Europe after a little stint in San Fran and for the GDC, the Game Devs Conference. If there's any devs listening, come say hi. It's going to be a great time. And then New York for 2 weeks, which is very exciting.
So he really might end up with that French passport.
You never know, right? You never know.
If you want to take just a little pit stop in the Midwest,
In the Midwest.
Michigan border, let us
Jump out
know.
midway when I'm flying over.
I mean, New York's close enough. You can make a pit stop.
Yeah, just jump out.
Do you like corn, meth? Maybe we've got an RV.
Sure.
It's really
My
all we
favorite
got to
things.
offer.
Together?
Yeah, all at the same time.
Great weekend.
Yes, so wasn't favorite type.
Well, guys,
We're
if
talking
you
about
haven't,
beef jerky that can get you high, right? So what's the difference between nicotine jerky to
You
meth
can't-
corn?
You can't leak that secret. That's something we can collectively sell. And that's how we can make all the games we want as big as we want.
Once you got that big nicotine jerky money,
Exactly.
oh yeah,
world's your oyster.
See, Zin's gonna hear this, and Zin, we know you're watching. We know
We know
you
you're
want to
watching.
throw Boser as many Zin cans as you can. But when
let's
you
go.
do Zin beef jerky, we want to cut.
Zin. I was just gonna sprig them more, get them any free cans.
He's gonna speak it into existence, right?
We
That's how
shouldn't
that works.
because Moses gonna get some kind of heart thing if he has too many of those. Like I don't think he shouldn't be. He
He's
shouldn't
gonna
be like
die in 4 years. I have to give his
cans. He's like,
obituary.
oh great, yeah, just
This fucking Australian game dev came on and just killed the man.
I will have
him
had,
18 cans of free sin, and now he's dead.
but I will have had a really great 6 months between then, and
No full limitless.
I'm happy.
You earn millions of dollars on the stock market.
Everything I wanted to by then in 6 months on that much.
Yeah. You've
Yeah.
lived a full life. You could die
I
happy.
tried to hand Zin, I am child. You're not a child. Don't put that on the internet. I did not give Zin to children. Anyway, thank you, Pat. This has been awesome.
It really
I can't
has.
wait to
Thanks, fellas.
play, and I'm gonna give you all my notes.
I'm gonna go find that eyelash.
Yeah.
At minute 34. But thanks for you tuning in, all of you at home. Make sure you come back. Probably won't be a Geek Out Sesh next week, because I'm going to be working a little bit late in the theater. But keep coming back. Keep supporting incredible artists.
Like, trust me, I'm my own.
You got your
Just
own
like
day.
a-
It's my
Probably
day.
a safe bet, though.
It's like little Josie. You can't leave him on his own.
See?
No,
He will chew everything.
you
I
will
do.
chew.
I get really bored.
But until next time, I am Boser,
I'm T.
And I have Pat Naoum.
and you just keep geeking
Geeking out.
Yeah.
You did it.